great turnout. Boy, this side's pretty quiet. This side's pretty talkative.
Thank you for coming. My name is Ralph Mendershouse. I'm concerned about the lower Merced River. Behind you is the map, and you see the river really runs pretty much through the middle of the county. That's our river. It really is the public's river. It actually is a national river protected by national legislation. And I'm very concerned. If you look at the base of that, to the left, there's a lake. That's entirely in Mariposa County. That river, by the way, works very hard for Mariposa County, out in the park, in the valley, all along its course. There are a great many recreational uses, trails, and my guess is that in the future it will work even harder. That someday there will be a trail coming up along that entire waterway from University of California, Merced, from the city of Merced. People there will want to recreate, and this will be where they come. They already come, they will be coming more. I'm very concerned about, I believe it's HR 934, which you sponsor. You represent Mariposa County. That lake is in Mariposa County. I don't know what Mariposa County is getting from your legislation. I do know that river works for us, and I think your legislation threatens that river. So now up in the upper end, in Yosemite Valley, you seem to have a different set of values than you do down there. We do have a very clear line now between the Merced Irrigation District, which is in Merced County, and the recreation that we have up here. So I'd like you to address that question because, and first of all, what is HR 934 going to do for Mariposa County? What are our benefits up here? And don't tell me the Merced Irrigation District is really inclined to share any possible gains with Mariposa County, because that really does not look very likely.
I rather think they'll sell to anybody who wants to buy it. It starts with Mariposa because it's cheaper to sell to Mariposa. No. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, and so that is my first question, and my main question, but also I want you to address the future, as she was just saying. I mean, we're thinking long term here, of the future of our community and economic development. How does taking a piece of river and turning it into a reservoir, going from riparian habitat and changing that to a bat covering, how does that improve our future? Thank you.
Well, let me start with a couple of stuff. There has been a lot of frankly, fairly hyperbolic rhetoric associated with the bill. I've seen it compared to we're planning to inundate the entire Yosemite Valley. All this does is to make about an 1,800-foot boundary adjustment in the lines for Lake McClure. When Lake McClure was established, it was a FERC, this Federal Energy Regulatory Commission boundary, because it's a hydroelectric dam. When the Wild and Scenic River designation was established for the Merced River, it actually overlapped onto the FERC boundary by about 1,800 feet. That shouldn't have happened. This simply adjusts the boundary back to where it should have been originally, so that it's contiguous and not overlapping. All of this is to simply accommodate a 10-foot increase in spillway at the new Exchequer Dam. What does that do for Mariposa County? It allows the capture during wet years of about 70,000 acre-feet of additional water that would otherwise be lost. That 70,000 acre-feet of water, just to put it in perspective, is enough to meet the annual needs of about 70,000 households, and it would produce about 1,700 kilowatts of electricity. Again, that's enough for the electricity needs of about 1,700 households. Hydroelectricity is the clean. I chair the Water and Power Subcommittee of Natural Resources. I'd like to kind of walk through a couple of what I think are fairly self-evident truths involving water and power and try them out on you. Self-evident truth number one is more water is better than less water. We all agree on that? More electricity is better than less electricity. We all agree on that. Cheaper water and cheaper electricity is better than more expensive water and more expensive electricity. That's what this project is all about. And the hyperbole that I see attached to some of the opposition, that an 1,800-foot boundary adjustment, simply to put the boundary lines where they should have been all along, up to the FERC boundary for Lake McClure, that will allow the temporary expansion of that lake during wet years, during about 8 weeks, to capture an extra 70,000 feet of water. I think that that's pretty clear. I mean, as you watch, the unemployment here is 13.2%. That is much higher than the state unemployment, which in turn is much higher than the federal unemployment rate, which is at terrible levels. I would think that the prospect of more water, more electricity at a time when our water supplies and our electricity supplies are being stretched to the breaking point, and we're all seeing massive increases in our electricity bills as a result of this scarcity. The prospect of having 1,700 kilowatts